So the second session on This is South Africa. We're going to kick off immediately with a presentation on safety and security to be anchored by our Minister of Safety and Security, Minister Steve SWC, who spent a very successful term in the first 5 years from 1994 to 1999 as Minister of Sport, during which time we had a very, very successful white paper launch, had numerous international events that South Africa hosted. And feeling so strongly about South Africa's bid for the 2006 Football World Cup, he's spending the next stint, over the next 5 years, to help to secure the event. Minister of Safety and Security, Minister Steve SWC.
We are delighted as South Africans to play host to this inspection visit by your good selves, and we hope that during your sojourn you should be able to see not only the envisaged venues for what we hope to convene in 2006, but also the country, its landscape, its peoples, and fortunately for you, you will be touching quite a number of provinces which will convey to you their different nuances. In my capacity as a Minister of Safety and Security, I have the privilege of having been associated with the original idea about South Africa hosting the World Cup in 2006, then in my capacity as Minister of Sport. We looked at what prospects we have and what potential is there for us to be developed in this particular direction. And even then, I was convinced that we have it, that it takes for South Africa to play host in 2006. My views have not changed, even where I am right now in the new portfolio. I am even more strengthened in my view, having been given the opportunity to preside over the security of our country. We have with me here the intelligence chief who will be complementing my input, and the national deputy commissioner, and next to him there, and of course the man who has been given the responsibility to supervise prosecutions in the country, the national director of public prosecutions. They're lined up to give you an idea of where we stand from a security perspective and what apparatus we have at our disposal and with whom we are working inside the country, in the SADC region, in the continent, and in the Americas, Europe, and even Asia, by way of trying to bolster our safety and security as a country, because we believe quite firmly that this aspect cannot be developed and strengthened in isolation from what is taking place in the continent and the region specifically, and of course the world. From a security perspective, we would like to present to you, sirs, the fact that we are entertaining absolutely no threat. Initially in 1994, when the new government was installed, there were bickerings within the right-wing enclaves in the country to say that they cannot accept the situation in which there is a black majority government in power, and that they were going to do everything within their reach to try and destabilize the situation. But what I want to say to you now is that all those threats have dissipated into thin air, and South Africa is very much secure. There is even greater interest on the part of all South Africans, black and white, to come together around the concept of nation building, reconstruction, and national reconciliation. These are the primary ideas that are uppermost in the minds of the biggest majority of the South African population. So that is why we have been able to strengthen the new democracy and to close ranks across color line and to put South Africa on a sound footing insofar as security and economic development are concerned. So the issue of hosting the 2006 World Cup is not something to our mind that can be threatened by any security situation. Even from the point of view of some small groups in the Western Cape, I'm sure you must have picked it up towards the end of last year, that there were some small groups in the Western Cape that had started a movement towards asserting their Muslim fundamentalism. That kind of situation has been totally quashed, and most of them are behind bars, and there is absolutely no movement, even from those particular quarters, that can be said to be a threat to the security of holding any specific event in the country. As a matter of fact, just towards the end of last year, in December to be specific, we held one of the biggest religious conferences in the country, and there was not a single security incident. The event was well secured, and it carried on for a number of days right up to its conclusion. And then insofar as the crime issue is concerned, that is what we are going to be dwelling on in our presentation. Naturally, in any situation in which there is a new transitional government in place, a situation in which that government is taking the helms from a situation of racial oppression, there are bound to be waves of criminality in ascendancy. We contended with that kind of situation from 1994, but over the years we have been able to master it and to be in full control. As I'm speaking to you right now, most of those crimes, particularly in the area of murder and possession of illegal firearms, have been stabilized. And even as late as yesterday, there was a Human Science Research Council review of the situation, which stated in very clear terms that the crime situation in South Africa has stabilized. Indeed, that is the situation. And we have drawn up right now, as we're going to be showing to you, a 3-year plan which is going to eliminate all levels of violent crime in our country, to bring them down very substantially, so much so that by 2006 we shall not be talking of crime as our major concern in this country. We have the apparatus to fight criminality. We've got a stable South African police service. We have a very powerful intelligence and, of course, a very powerful prosecutional wing. We have been able, for the first time in the history of the country, to emerge with what we call the Troika, which brings together prosecution, investigation, and intelligence. In the past, these have been segmented, but presently, we're talking of one integrated criminal justice system which is beginning to gel well. That is why we're able to score these big successes that we're scoring right now. So that's what the situation is, and I'm going to hand over, with your permission, to my colleagues in the intelligence to firm up on the issues that I've just raised. I thank you very much.